articles. Most of it's just online ranting and things like that from these young people. But best case scenario, these people capture them and ruin their lives. They don't sit them down and try and set them on the right path or talk to them about what's going on. There's one example here that I found, Rhianan Rudd. And I hope, if you don't mind, if I pull up the article and talk a little bit about that as a case study. So Rhianan Rudd was a terror suspect, and she was, I believe, 15 years old when she became the youngest girl charged with terror offences in the UK.
15.
So 15. And it started even younger than that. So at the age of 14, I'm getting this from a BBC News article here. I could send you the link to that if you're wanting to put it up on the screen.
Yeah, I can do. I'll see if I can pull it up for the audience. If not, I'll show it in post.
I'll send it to you in post
as well.
But yeah, so at the age of 14 is when this all started. So she had gotten in touch with a horrible man called Christopher Cook, who was an American. And anybody who's been in nationalism long enough knows that the Americans are the cranks. I don't know what it is in the water over there, but things like Atomwaffen and all these groups.
Same stuff that's turning the frogs gay?
Well, it's a lot worse than that. We don't really get actual far right terrorism in the UK, but in America they do. And this guy had gotten in touch with her. I think it looks like it was through a stepdad, and he was radicalising her into this black pill ideology, and sort of things like terror cram and things like that. So bad, in fact, and it makes me sick to my stomach to say this, but she had been talked into sending explicit images of herself, possibly as young as 14, at least not 15, to this man. So this was a woman this is a young woman, a young girl who was groomed by an utterly insane individual in America. And it looks like they had some sort of grooming relationship here. So she's going through that ordeal. So while she's going through that ordeal, while she's being exploited by this man in America, who's on the FBI watch list, and the FBI knew about this, by the way, and didn't bring charges until after. Our authorities knew about this. They knew that she was being groomed and abused, and what they decided to do was charge her with terrorism and take her outside her home and put her in a kid's home, away from her family, away from her mother. And what ended up happening was she ended up taking her own life at age 15 in that home. Her mother had warned the home that she believed that her daughter Rhiannon was suicidal, and the home said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll look into it." Wasn't enough. So this young woman, 14, I wouldn't even say young woman, teenager, kid, she was groomed at age 14 by extremists over in America. And the authorities, instead of helping her and understanding that she was a victim, charged her with terrorism, ruined her life further, took her away from her mother, and she ended up taking her own life. Our mother has gone on record to say that she believes that the authorities are responsible. Sorry, just to correct, at age 16, she was found dead. And she'd hanged herself. So that's the sort of fate that can be put upon these young, vulnerable people if somebody doesn't step in. Now, I bring up that case to back up my point that I don't believe the authorities can help, at least not the way that they're doing things at the moment. I believe what's happening is that the authorities, instead of recognising these children as victims and trying to give them help, I believe that they want to pad out the convictions for terrorism under the far right category. Now, the furthest this young girl ever got in terms of terrorism was she downloaded a bomb-making manual. Didn't have the materials to make anything. Didn't have any set plans. But now, when it says downloaded, I think what's probably happened is this guy or someone in his circles has sent her a file.
Yeah,
And
I can
she's
see what
then
you
opened
mean.
it.
Yeah.
And now a lot of these apps, like I don't know what app she was using, whether it was Discord or Telegram or whether it was over the internet, whatever it was. A lot of them, if you can go into your permissions, you can change this, but a lot of them have it set up so that things automatically download, like images and so forth.
WhatsApp does it as well by default.
WhatsApp does it, yeah. It could very well have been WhatsApp that she was on. I don't know.
Because I end up going through my photos, and I got a bunch of random photos on there. Like, when did these come through? And it's because they automatically download
from groups that you're in and things like that. Yeah, they automatically download.
Yes. Sorry, please.
So I don't even know if she went out of her way to look for this stuff. So at the very worst, she's been sent a file that's downloaded on her phone. Again, 14, 15-year-old girl, is she going to be making a bomb? She hasn't got the materials for it. She hasn't got the money to buy the materials. Do you know what I mean? So what's happened is, instead of the state and the authorities and journalist scum like Hope Not Hate getting in touch and trying to bring her away from that path and show her something positive instead, a way that she can advocate for her beliefs without going off the deep end and spiraling into political violence. Instead, they've prosecuted her as if she's a criminal and ruined her life and quite possibly been responsible for ending it. And that's just one case. There's so many more when I've looked into this that have come up of young men mostly, but young women as well, falling down that path. Many of them end up taking their own lives. And that's why I think it's intolerably malicious when groups like Hope Not Hate say that we are the Homeland Party, which I'm a member of, is grooming young people into Nazism or violence or things like that. Because after I've met Kenny Smith and he's helped me out and shown me the way, I haven't been involved in anything like that. There's so many young men that Kenny had gotten in touch with through the Homeland Party or previously, who he's turned away from that and put towards real work, making positive changes in their local community. So we don't go around starting fights. It's not in our interest. We're not interested in doing that. We don't go around graffitiing, smashing up shops. We don't engage in illegal activities. For one, you can't help people from the inside of a jail cell, and for second, it's distasteful and it's wrong, and it doesn't align with our beliefs. So instead, what we do, myself, for example, we've been up at Forfar Loch, which is just up the road from me, not too far, and we've been helping out the park ranger because he's not getting enough funding, he's not getting enough staff to manage the loch. So we've been tearing out invasive species that spread like wildfire. We've been planting new trees. We've been picking up litter, cleaning up the local area. And that's just over in Forfar. We've been doing the same here in Dundee, where I live. And again, that's just the guys in my area, just the activists for the Homeland Party here. All across the country, things like that are happening. There was a lad down south, just north of London, who'd organised a lot of pick with his community. And I think he got 20 members of his community involved to go on this litter pick. And they were picking up nitrous canisters that were being used for drug use. We've done similar things in Dundee. We've been picking up bottles that have been left by winos, underpasses and things like that on our litter picks. Thank God we haven't come across any needles yet, but we're very careful. We've always got our PPE on when we go out for that reason.
I just see the way the countries are going at the moment. It's only a matter of time before you find something like that, or God forbid, a kid finds something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, that would be the worst case scenario. I remember when I was a kid, even at the play park, finding needles, and my mum chasing me away from that. It's pretty bad. Dundee is the drug death capital of Europe.
Of
we
Europe?
have the most of Europe, not the UK, Europe. Dundee is. I know it's quite bad in Wales, some parts of Wales, with the unemployment and the deaths of despair, but it's particularly bad in Dundee and has been for a long time. I think we were the Valium capital of Europe as well for a while, and heroin capital of Europe. It's everywhere in Dundee. It's a real problem. If young people don't get sucked into dangerous sort of like crank ideologies, what they'll end up doing often is falling into hard drug use as well, because it's so hopeless up here. And it's a real tragedy. We had a campaign a short while ago, a leafleting campaign trying to address the drug problem in Dundee and trying to hold our MPs to account. Now, unfortunately, our MPs here seem more bent on the idea of safe consumption rooms, where you're enabling this. And it sounds like a nice idea, and I was convinced that this was a good idea many years ago, when it came up as a topic in school. We were doing a sociology course and this came up, and everybody was convinced it was a good idea, but we've seen now that it does directly lead to deaths and overdoses, and people do die in these rooms. So yeah, it's an absolute tragedy. But going back to something positive, my life has completely turned around since I got involved with Homeland Party. I'm doing really well for myself now. One thing I didn't touch on is that back in the day when I was involved with these other misled kids, really, with this extremist shit that you see online, we thought everything was going to kick off any minute now. So none of us bothered to go to college, university, plan for the future, set up pensions, bother learning to drive, because we all thought it was going to kick off any minute, so there was no point. So it really sort of stunted our growth. But what I've been able to do since then is I've found myself honest, good employment. I've started planning for the future. I've got myself a lovely little flat here. I've even been investing into pension accounts, everything. And I'm going to be learning to drive soon. I've been putting it off, but it's about time to do it. I'm going to be learning to drive this year.
Just keep an eye on those pensions, though. Ursula von der Leyen has her eye on those pensions, so just keep an eye. Just keep an eye on them.
Well, my pensions took a dip after the American stock market dip. Went down by about 12.5%, which was horrible to see happen overnight. But they've sort of creeped back up now. So
it'll recover, I think.
Yeah, I've not quite gotten into investing yet, but I have set up 2 or I think 3 now pension accounts just to be safe, because sometimes what happens is your pension could drop completely to nothing. So I wanted to make sure I don't have all my eggs in the same basket. Yeah, my life's completely turned around. I've got a great group of friends now that I can bring around my family, that I'm happy to have around my family. I'm happy to have around my other friends, that I know won't embarrass me, that I know won't make my friends and my family worry about me. And we do help each other out. We're quite tight-knit in Homeland Party, especially my branch here in the northeast of Scotland. We're very close. Josh Ferner, who you've spoken to, of course, is a fairly recent addition to us in the northeast of Scotland, and he's a cracker, isn't he? He's a great guy. But yeah, we've really managed to do some positive things here through Homeland. As an example, there's lots of high-rise flats in Dundee, like these big tower blocks, like out that Judge Dredd film, and they are dire. They are absolutely dire. And what happened is we had a storm earlier this year, and one of these giant trees on that property had fallen down, blocking the footpath. And because it was winter as well, the grass to either side was like the Somme. It was just a muddy mess, which is it's fine for young able-bodied people like ourselves. We could just walk around, just go through the mud. That's fine. But if you're elderly and you walk with a cane or a Zimmer frame, or if you're a mother, there's a lot of mothers in this area who have a push pram. You can't now access that path. So me and a friend of mine who's also in the Homeland Party got out. We took out our branch saws that we'd bought up in Forfar, and we chopped this tree to pieces. I posted something about it on my Twitter. I'll send you the images for that if you want to put them up. We chopped them up into smaller pieces and then lugged them about, because this tree must have weighed a ton. Like two big lads like ourselves could not lift it, so I had to chop it up into lots of pieces, and then we were able to clear the path, and now it's remained clear. So that has been a really positive change, and this happened. We did this 2 weeks after the storm, when the tree had fallen down, because that's when it was reported to us, and we clocked it, so we went to go and fix it. The council, no doubt, had been contacted about that and hadn't done anything about it. And these high rises were council housing as well, so you'd think that'd be a top priority, but no, the council hadn't bothered to go out, so it was left to us. So we decided that we were going to try and make a small but positive change. It only took us a couple of hours of being there, and we were able to free up that path for people with their shopping and prams and things like that. So we were quite proud. So that's why I'm very proud of being in the Homeland Party, is that I've been able to really turn my life around and go from so it's embarrassing to talk so negatively about yourself, but to go from a cringe, like, edgelord teenager to a man that I'm quite proud to be, that I hope my community can be proud of as well, because of the Homeland Party and the things I've been able to do through the Homeland Party. So it really has made a huge difference in my life.